the big brother, risked his life inhaling bone and blood just to save his little sister. But instead of turning into a monster, he awakened an overpowered mutant ability. From then on, every time he killed a mutated monster, his power leveled up even more. And to get stronger fast, he decided to go all in and take down an SSS rank boss. But to understand how it got to this point, we have to rewind to what happened earlier. A group of archaeologists accidentally triggered an ancient seal, and it slowly turned into a disaster for all humanity.
Humans
who breathed it in gradually went insane, then died for no reason. And most animals mutated into savage beasts. Wherever they went, everything was reduced to rubble. 3 days earlier, the blood-red fog phenomenon began appearing across the world. Loudspeakers kept warning people to stay indoors and avoid going outside. At the time, Niam Hao was on a family trip, riding in their car. A military officer rushed up and knocked on their window, ordering them to move. Immediately, his mom felt something was off, because the army showed up out of nowhere. While his dad looked skeptical, none of what they said sounded believable. What kind of disaster needs the military? Seeing his little sister trembling, Niam Hao reassured her, "Don't worry, we're all here with you." Even so, he could feel the unease in the air. That red fog, what was it that made the army act so urgently? Before he could finish the thought, a loud explosion rang out. A car fell from above and slammed down right onto their vehicle. Niam Hao instinctively shielded his sister. After the impact, he checked on his parents. "Mom, Dad, are you okay?" His dad was unlucky. His leg was trapped, and he couldn't get out. And then a massive crash echoed nearby. The whole family turned toward the sound. A gigantic mutant beast was attacking the military. Niam Hao blurted out, "What the hell is that?"
Sans signe danger.
His father ordered everyone to get out of the car. Niam Hao kicked the door open, but his parents' side was jammed under the crushed car above. His mom said, "Take your sister and go. Don't worry about us." But Niam Hao refused.
"No,
I'm getting you out." A scream pierced the air not far away. A mutant beast was mauling a man. The horrifying sight made his sister shake in fear. His mom grabbed his hand tightly. "Go now." Before he could save them, something dropped from above and knocked Niam Hao and Tuet flying. It was the same beast that had attacked that man. It looked like a giant wolf, with its spine exposed and its belly torn away, leaving a bare ribcage. The moment she saw it, his sister screamed. The mutant beast turned its head, spotted the two siblings still alive, and prepared to lunge. He quickly grabbed his sister's hand and ran with her as fast as they could. Along the way, the world looked like it was ending right in front of him. In the sky, hundreds of massive monsters attacked, blowing planes and helicopters out of the air, sending them crashing down. And on the ground, other monsters hunted. The remaining survivors, that strange red fog, was changing both humans and animals, making them crazed and bloodthirsty. What the hell is happening to this world? He wondered. Cut to a supermarket, where mutated wolves caught the scent of living humans and rushed in. The siblings hid behind a food shelf. He covered his sister's mouth, afraid she'd scream and draw the pack's attention. After a while, he looked back and saw the monster had moved away. He let go and finally exhaled in relief. But then his sister's face started showing red vein-like patterns spreading fast. The intense pain made her clutch her head and groan. Worried, he asked, "Tuet, what's wrong?" "Brother, I feel awful." Looking in a mirror, he realized he had the same red patterns too. He immediately understood. This was the red fog's aftermath. He quickly soaked a towel with water and handed it to her. "Cover your mouth. Don't breathe in any more of that red fog." The red patterns on his face also grew clearer and spread wider. The pain hit so hard he collapsed to the floor. "It hurts. It's burning." Something inside his body felt like it was forcing its way out. After the pain and the patterns finally faded, his sister saw him trembling and asked, "Brother, are you okay?" He fought the shaking and reassured her, "I'm fine. I'm okay." Suddenly, a monster noticed them and crept closer. The siblings were still focused on the pain, not realizing danger was closing in. Only when that terrifying face and those long fangs loomed into view did they realize, damn it, they'd been spotted. He grabbed Tuet's hand and ran again. But the moment they escaped the supermarket, they ran into an even bigger monster, already waiting for them up ahead. and the one behind them caught up too. Seriously? They were trapped on both sides.
Tiểu Tuyết asked and Xioli.
Brother, what do we do? He held her tight. Don't be scared. I'm here. Right then, a massive monster flew overhead, letting out a sky-shaking roar. The other monsters immediately swarmed the siblings. This was clearly the strongest one they'd faced, since they started running. Is this really where it ends for us today? He thought. Luckily, he spotted an escape route in the encirclement. Without hesitating, he pulled his sister and ran for it. But of course, bad luck. Another monster was waiting inside. Outside was even worse. The only option left was to fight. He grabbed a chunk of wood and braced himself to face the monster. However, his resistance was like a praying mantis trying to stop a car. The wood was crushed instantly by the monster's powerful jaws. It lunged at him, opening the small wide, trying to swallow him whole. He barely managed to block it with his hands and feet, but the force slammed him hard into the wall. Right then, an arrow shot in and blinded one of the monster's eyes. Chu Tuet had saved him in time with a crossbow. A mere prey had actually hurt it. The monster exploded with rage and charged at Chu Tuet. He shouted, "Run! Don't look back!" Chu Tuet tossed the crossbow aside and bolted, sprinting for her life. The red patterns suddenly reappeared, spreading across his entire body. He writhed in agony, clutching his chest as he coughed up blood. His eyes tracked his sister as she ran, and he forced himself upright against the wall. He muttered in despair, Why now of all times?" When he saw the beast about to kill his sister, rage detonated inside him. His hand crushed the concrete wall with a tight squeeze. A surge of power blasted the wall down onto the monster, making it howl in pain. Eyes bloodshot, gripping an iron bar, he roared, "Die!" The metal bar stabbed straight through its head, blood spraying everywhere. Every time he shouted, he drove it deeper, carving in another fatal wound. Chu Tuet stared in shock. Her brother looked like a wild beast. She rushed over and hugged him tight. "Brother, what's wrong with you?" "Stop.
I'm okay."
Her voice echoed inside his head, pulling him back to reality. Images of their parents flashed, along with their final words. "Chu Hao, take good care of Chu Tuet." He looked at his sister, tears streaming down his face. His chest tightened.
"Sorry,
I scared you." Before he could finish saying, "I'm fine," another mutant beast charged in, its mouth as big as a truck, opening wide to swallow them both. In a split second, he grabbed Chu Tuet and rolled aside. The monster twisted mid-lunge and attacked again. He clenched the stick in his hand and roared, "You bastard! Stay away from my sister!" One powerful swing smashed straight into its mouth, sending it flying back. It slammed into the wall, dust exploding everywhere. He turned to Chu Tuet, his tone firm, "Hide here. I'll lure it away." Chu Tuet clung to him, voice shaking, "Don't go. I'm scared you'll lose control again." He gently patted her head. "It's okay. This time I won't. Soon, I'll come back for you." Chu Tuet nodded, eyes full of trust. "I'll wait." From the darkness, a blazing red energy surged into view. He realized something and murmured, "If I absorb that energy, I might get even stronger." He pointed straight at the mutant pack leader, his voice full of challenge. "If I take you down, I'll be strong enough to protect my family. So go ahead, die in peace." The leader curled its lip in a scornful grin, and its underlings rushed in. He fought ferociously, every strike dropping another enemy. One clamped down hard on his shoulder, and the red patterns on his arm suddenly began to glow. His hand tightened, ripping the monster clean in half. His arms transformed, growing tougher, sharp as beast claws. He gasped, "So this is the power. This is incredible." Suddenly, the leader's roar thundered out, and the underlings immediately retreated. He looked up. A heavy fighter jet was flying overhead. Snapping out of the power rush, he stared at his warped hands and muttered, "What's happening to me?" A bomb dropped, blinding light bursting across the scene. He shouted, "Chu Tuet, don't come out." The explosion shook the sky, dust swallowing everything. A military helicopter landed. Seeing he was infected, they decided to abandon him and take Chu Tuet only. Exhausted and helpless, he watched his sister being taken away, then everything went black. Half a year later, he still lived with the trauma. A nightmare of Chu Tuet being burned alive jerked him awake. His breathing was ragged. He sighed, "That dream again. Chu Tuet, where are you?" He gripped his gun and kept searching. At least he hadn't been spotted yet. Ever since Chu Tuet was taken away, he'd searched every refugee camp. Nothing. His little sister had vanished without a trace. To find her, he joined a patrol unit at the very lowest border division in the military, becoming a B-rank soldier. Because in a world this chaotic, only the military could gather intel and move freely across regions. Right now, at Akishi border station, the blood-red fog still blanketed the entire city, as if nothing had changed. He ran up to a soldier, the patrol captain, Ko Tuan. "Sorry, Captain, I'm late for my shift." A soldier nearby recognized the familiar scene and let out an exhausted sigh. "Not this useless rookie again." The captain immediately booted him in the butt. "Idiot, where were you slacking off? How long have you been late this time?" Afraid of another kick, he sprinted up to the watch post, but the captain still worried about the rookie's lack of discipline. He didn't forget to warn Niam how some important officials are coming later. Only after that do we get a break. If you mess up again, I'll deal with you on the spot. Got it. Standing on the watch post, looking down at the ruins, what used to be a thriving city, he couldn't help but drift back into the past. Half a year ago, when the red fog began spreading, most cities turned into wastelands, becoming nests for mutated creatures. And with the red fog, a mysterious tower appeared as well. Survivors could only band together and flee, far from the tower, far from the red fog, as far as possible. He remembered an old enemy, the one who tore the siblings apart. He didn't know if that guy was still alive, but "I'll find you no matter what." On the other side, the captain lit a cigarette and chatted with his teammates. "The Special Ops unit is handling things beyond the border, so our watch duty is basically just for show. If even Special Ops can't handle it, what can patrol grunts like us do?" Hearing that, the two soldiers beside him sighed. "Still, that's a famous Special Ops unit. How could they possibly lose?" "Yeah, Captain, are you trying to scare us? They didn't come here to do a mission. They came to wipe out mutant beasts however they want." Meanwhile, Niam Hao stood alone on watch, staring into the red fog, thinking, even after all this time, I still hate the stench of that red fog. It triggers the most primal bloodlust in living creatures, making them attack each other. All of a sudden, the red fog began to thin, at a speed visible to the naked eye. "This is bad, something's coming this way." One of the soldiers spoke up. "Captain, something's wrong. Look over there. What's happening?" The captain shot to his feet. "No way. When did the red fog reach us?" Out of the crimson haze, two Special Ops soldiers came sprinting toward them in panic. The captain asked, "Sir, what happened?" They didn't even have time to explain. Only, "Retreat, now." Then something whipped out of the red fog and sent both Special Ops soldiers flying, facing something that could take them out. In a single move, the commanding officer immediately radioed everyone to retreat. But the captain didn't escape in time. A claw from the mutant beast snagged his collar and yanked him back. Cold sweat poured down his face, like he knew he was seconds from dying. When he turned, he saw a massive mutated lizard, dragging him right up close. Those blood-red eyes studied him, like it was deciding if this prey was tasty. In that instant, the captain could only blurt out, "I'm done for." From above, Niam Hao looked down, hearing everyone scream in terror. "Save me, they're here, run." Without hesitating, he leapt down to fight the swarm of mutant beasts, and he carved through several like it was nothing. Niam Hao activated his mutated hands, his eyes burning red like fire, muttering strange words under his breath. A mutant beast nearby saw its kind get slaughtered and snarled in fury, bearing sharp fangs in a threat display. It charged straight at Niam Hao at terrifying speed, but Niam Hao didn't flinch. With a lightning-fast move, he grabbed the monster by the head and threw a brutal punch that sent his head flying clean off. A stream of red energy rose from the corpse and was instantly absorbed into his mutated arm. Feeling new power flood his body,
Niam Hao smiled.
Not bad. His strength had jumped significantly. If he kept absorbing all the mutant beasts around him, just how strong would he become? He glanced around, counting the monsters surrounding him. 3, 4, 5, 6, damn that's a lot. Damn. He lost patience counting. How gathered his inner power, letting it surge through his entire body. Don't disappoint me, you lot. A bolt of annihilating lightning tore through the swarm of mutant beasts, sending them crashing to the ground, without even understanding what had just happened. Hao turned around, his eyes filled with vigilance. Turns out you're here again to steal my livelihood. It was Song Air, captain of the Border Combat Unit, a young, beautiful woman with platinum blonde hair. Seeing the special forces appear, before he had any chance to prepare, Hao thought to himself, damn it, I'm finished this time. I have to retract this mutated arm immediately. Song Air gave a decisive order, leave no mutant beast alive. Not a single one. Eliminate them all. In an instant, the entire squad aimed their guns at Hao. Their swift, clean movements left him no time to explain. He could only raise his hands in surrender. Wait, don't shoot. I'm a low-ranking soldier from the Border Patrol. But before he could finish speaking, gunfire erupted. Bang bang in the blink of an eye. The mutant beast about to attack him from behind collapsed, his body riddled with bullet holes. Hao stood frozen in shock for several seconds, until the special forces reported the target eliminated. Only then did he come to his senses and realize they had only been aiming at the monster. Behind him, she stepped forward, her footsteps light as she approached Hao. Song Air held a rifle in her hand, standing before him with a stern gaze. Where's your weapon, bottom-rank patrol soldier? The blunt question left Hao flustered. He couldn't come up with an excuse in time. He thought nervously, this is bad. What do I say? While he remained silent, a Special Forces member reported, all units withdraw from the front line and return to the temporary defensive line. The scene shifted to a military tent. A stern guard warned those in the truck, without Commander Song's authorization, unauthorized personnel are not allowed inside. Inside, Song Air was listing the casualties. From the recent incident, Sector A suffered 37 casualties, including 2 Special Forces members, and 30 from the Border Patrol unit. The rest are missing. This is the personnel loss report. Hao nodded in acknowledgement. Then why am I being detained? I'm also a victim of this incident. He was tightly bound to a chair, with 2 special operatives standing guard beside him. Song Air continued the interrogation. Yesterday evening, you left your unit without permission for over 2 hours. When you returned, the Red Fog riot broke out. Don't you think you owe us an explanation? Hao felt relieved his mutated arms hadn't been exposed. But at the same time, he couldn't exactly report that he'd overslept. During his duty shift, he stammered, I just dozed off for a bit in the junk pile. I already informed the squad leader. Then why isn't it in the records? An officer beside her raised his hand to speak. Commander, he's often late for duty, but his squad leader always covers for him. Don't let him frame my brother. Hao felt his scalp tingle as his oversleeping secret was about to be exposed, his eyes bloodshot. You damn dog if you spout nonsense. I'll castrate you tomorrow.
Song Air frowned,
realizing the Border Patrol unit still had many unresolved issues. Meanwhile, the squad leader being mentioned suddenly sneezed as if someone had spoken ill of him. The officer beside him panicked and asked, "Are you okay?" The medic reassured them, "Doctor, our captain just needs his mouth bandaged a bit more." "And you call that normal?" Another soldier asked skeptically. Back at Hao's current location, Song Air held his file and continued questioning him. "Your records show you only completed basic training 3 months ago. In the recent battle, even my special ops squad lost 2 members. It's surprising you survived that disaster," Song Air said suspiciously. Hao immediately retorted, "I'm afraid of dying. I used to train in track and field, so I'm more agile than most people. When I noticed the red fog acting up, I ran before the mutants arrived." Song Air pressed on. "If you're afraid of death, why join the military? Do you have another motive?" The question rendered Hao silent. In truth, he did have another goal: to search for his younger sister, Xiao Shui. Over the past 6 months, he had lived like a lone wolf, avoiding the crowds, hunting and absorbing low-level mutants. To control his mutation, he used every means possible to search for clues about human shelters. As a soldier, fearing death, abandoning your post without permission, knowing something was wrong yet failing to report it. Do you understand the consequences? Song Air stepped closer to Hao. Are you planning to execute me? Yen Hao replied coldly. Song Air leaned down and whispered in his ear. What exactly are your hands? Why have you been lying this whole time? Speak now, what is your true purpose for joining the military? But Yen Hao kept his expression blank, so she really did notice. Suddenly, a violent earthquake struck.
Song Air
Thought it was just an ordinary tremor, but Yen Hao knew better. This sensation was all too familiar. A massive number of mutants were approaching. He instantly turned and ran, shouting, "Run now." Song Air thought he was seizing the chance to escape. A flash of electricity sparked in her eyes. In the blink of an eye, she slammed him to the ground. You dare run in front of me? Do you take me for nothing? The ground beneath them began to seep water. People around them panicked and pleaded with the commander. Please go easy on him. The ground is cracking. Don't spout nonsense. I'm not that strong. At that moment, the entire ground collapsed. Screams echoed everywhere. After falling into a cloud of dust, many people were still in shock. Yen Hao calmly said, "Did we fall underground?" Song Air remained composed, ordering everyone to turn on their lights and assess the situation. Meanwhile, the officer, the squad leader's brother, still held a grudge against Yen Hao. You really are a bad omen. Nothing good ever happens when you're around. Are we supposed to spend our entire lives underground? Yen Hao replied lazily, survive first, cry about it later. No guarantee we'll stay down here forever. When the lights illuminated the area, the group saw massive caves stretching before them, layered upon each other. Oh God, were these tunnels dug by mutant beasts? Someone exclaimed. Song Air immediately ordered, stay calm, check your remaining weapons. Hold formation and don't expose any openings. A strange gust of wind suddenly swept through. With his keen instincts, Yen Hao sensed danger and warned them. There's wind, a guard immediately said. If there's wind, there must be a way out. We should go check it out. After confirming a faint breeze, the guard grew excited, so much that he didn't notice. 3 blood-red eyes staring intently in his direction. But he still didn't forget to take a jab at Yen Hao. Yen Hao, you're seriously useless at everything, except running away. You're practically a master of it. Right then, a 3-eyed monster suddenly lunged out from behind the officer, while he was telling everyone about the escape route ahead. In the blink of an eye, the mutant beast was struck down on the spot by a bolt of lightning. Its blue blood splattered down, barely missing a man's most sensitive area. Song Air immediately warned them. Armor bug blood is extremely corrosive. Don't touch it. And remember, no one acts without my order. Understood? Seeing the ground right in front of him being eaten away, he silently thanked the heavens. Damn, I almost became a eunuch. Song Air glanced at Yen Hao and said, looks like your instincts are sharp when it comes to dodging danger. Once we get out safely, you're going to explain this to me, clearly. Yen Hao just stared at her in silence, wondering if she knows my secret and isn't saying it. What is she really planning? Suddenly, a beast-like roar grew louder and louder, a sign something terrifying was closing in. Hundreds of 3-eyed armor bugs crawled out of the tunnels, every face twisted with malice. In an instant, thousands of tunnels around them were sealed off by these beasts. Crap, why are there so many armor bugs? We're in serious trouble this time. The bad news was the mutants didn't give them a second to breathe. They rushed in immediately, fighting to tear their prey apart. There were simply too many. Every attempt to hold them back was a drop in the ocean. Luckily, they found a tunnel the armor bugs hadn't occupied. Everyone immediately carved a bloody path and fled inside. Once they were in the tunnel, Yen Hao suddenly felt something was off. Ignoring Song Air's warning, don't stop, keep running. He turned back and noticed the mutants didn't seem to be coming any closer, even though they didn't know why they weren't pursuing. The squad had no choice but to keep pushing forward to find a way out. After a while, they encountered a boss-level mutant beast. It was absorbing red bone mist to boost its power. Its fang-filled mouth opened wide as a dark energy gathered inside. Yen Hao spotted it instantly and warned everyone. Everyone watch out, its mouth attack is charging up. Song Air seized the opening, raised her rifle and fired at the beast. But the monster had already finished charging and unleashed a crimson blast. The 2 attacks traveled side by side without colliding. In the end, the boss was hit by Song Air's shot, while she almost took its counterattack head-on. Fortunately, Yen Hao morphed one arm in time, and blocked the blow, saving her life. Staring at Yen Hao's transformed arm, Song Air asked, "Yen Hao, your arm." He cut her off. "Let's get out of here alive first. Then I'll explain everything." Yen Hao stepped toward the boss, ready for a real fight. Seeing her attack only leave a tiny dent on its head,
Song Air worried.
"Even my strike only scratched it. Can he really defeat this thing?" All she could do was support him from behind. "Yen Hao, be careful." With that encouragement, Yen Hao charged the boss. He quickly realized his attacks weren't doing much damage at all. Its armor was way too tough. A normal mutant would have been torn apart by now. Its massive size and near impenetrable defense made it like an armored tank. It must have devoured countless of its own kind. To gain such terrifying power and bulk, the mutant finally counterattacked, throwing a punch at Yen Hao, but it couldn't land. Yen Hao thought hard. Looks like it poured everything into defense through that armor. He chuckled softly and sighed. In the end, it's just a giant walking sandbag. Then, he threw himself into a relentless fight with the beast, leaving the whole group stunned. Am I dreaming? Yen Hao, the kid who's always the most scared of dying, always the first to run, is now fighting a boss-level mutant, all by himself? Who the hell is he? Song Air immediately explained. He's a test subject, created to fight against mutant beasts, a top-secret project of the United Government. And the guy who needed 3 months just to pass basic training is a mutant fighting test subject? That's right. When he blocked that attack for me, I finally confirmed his true identity. But that explanation would only convince naive young officers. The deputy officer beside her couldn't help but feel suspicious. The United Nations Alliance has experiments like this? Or is she hiding something? Song Air kept sweet-talking to persuade him. He escaped from the lab and infiltrated the border patrol. That red bone mist outbreak last time may well be linked to him. That's why I suspected his identity. This is the nation's highest level secret. Anything you hear or see here must never be disclosed. Understood? The officer could only accept it. Yes, Commander. I won't say a word, he answered reluctantly. Commander. Back to where Yen Hao was fighting the boss-level mutant. The monster once again gathered energy in its mouth and fired off another attack. Yen Hao dodged easily, but forgot his teammates were behind him. After a thunderous explosion,
Commander Song Air
barely avoided it thanks to her sharp reflexes. But the officer wasn't so lucky. The deputy commander saved his life, but he still lost a leg. The officer trembled and stuttered. You're a deputy commander with real combat power. Why sacrifice yourself for a nobody like me? The deputy commander replied calmly. Trading a leg to save a life. I'd say that's a fair deal. The officer pressed on. But isn't your main mission to fight mutant beasts? Now you've lost a precious part of your strength. Because of me, the deputy commander comforted him. I joined the army, not just to kill mutant beasts. I became a soldier to protect, as humanity's shield. I won't abandon anyone. His sincere words left the officer speechless. After a long fight, Yen Hao was pushed into a disadvantage and knocked away, flying dozens of meters back. At this moment, the energy in his body was nearly drained. Even maintaining his mutated arm was becoming difficult. Staring at the massive monster ahead, he thought to himself, so this is the power of a boss-level mutant. No wonder it's such a nightmare to deal with. In the split second between life and death, as the monster swung a brutal blow at him, a bolt of lightning slammed into its head, forcing it to recoil in pain. Seeing the residual sparks crackling around it, he realized Song Air had stepped in. He turned to look at her, rifle in hand, with powerful electricity still dancing around her. Yen Hao, you can't die here. I still have a lot to ask you. You're going to explain everything to me, clearly. Suddenly, the monster that Song Air had struck let out a strange laugh. It bared its terrifying fangs, breathing out hot, humid mist. Seeing this, Song Air felt a bad feeling rise, and sure enough, red fog began gathering from every corner of the tunnels converging on the boss. These tunnels connected everywhere, letting it control the red fog with ease, and it used that fog to recover the strength. Watching the wound on its head slowly closing up, Song Air grew anxious. If this keeps up, it'll be back at full strength soon. So it seems the last red fog outbreak was caused by it. Without hesitation, she rushed straight to Yen Hao. Yen Hao, we can't take it down right now. It's in the middle of recovering. We should retreat. But Yen Hao refused to back down. He stood up again, channeling his mutation through his arm. No, today it dies right here. His eyes burned crimson, overflowing with killing intent. The fact it's summoning the fog is also feeding me more power. Right now it's busy absorbing energy, so can't move. This is our best chance to strike. Song Air looked at him seriously. But if you fail, you could die here. He immediately shifted into a defensive stance. His whole body flared with streams of red energy. I've walked through the gates of hell more times than I can count. One more time won't make a difference. Song Air could only give in to his stubborn resolve. She had no choice but to go along with the plan. But we only get one shot. She dropped to one knee and raised her rifle. Lightning-charged power surged through her whole body. Then it funneled into the muzzle. I'll unleash everything I've got and help you crack the armor on its head. Use that opening to smash its brain directly. She peered through the scope, locking onto the monster's head, getting ready for her strongest shot. This is the only way we can take it down. With that, she pulled the trigger. At that instant, Niam Hao charged forward, pushing himself to keep up with Song Air's lightning. He leapt onto the monster's head. The lightning slammed into the top of its skull. Perfect, the armor on its head cracked open. He seized the moment instantly, not wasting a single second, and drove his mutated arm straight into its head. He unleashed 7,749 punches. With one target, the spot where the head armor was gone, exposed and vulnerable. Green fluid burst from its head, spraying everywhere in a messy flood. The monster screamed in agony, and the remaining armor on its head took the impact too, splintering with cracks. Song Air watched from behind, stunned by how brutally he was shredding it. Did we actually do it? A loud explosion erupted as more green fluid blasted out. Niam Hao was thrown back by the shockwave. He drained every last bit of his power, so the mutated arm dissipated along with it. He crashed straight to the ground. Song Air rushed over anxiously. Are you okay? Niam Hao was already unconscious. After burning through his energy and taking the blast, he lay sprawled on the ground, motionless. Song Air noticed the photo he always carried, slipping out. She picked it up, puzzled. What's this photo? As she studied it, she didn't notice a core crystal resting in his hand. Core crystal slowly sank into the center of his palm. As a faint red mist seeped outward, the crystal's intrusion made his body react violently. Veins bulged all over like his body was fighting back. Scene change, he woke up and found himself in a formless, undefined space. Beside him, strange codes were moving. Feeling around, he sensed nothing else except red fog and those bizarre strings of code. Am I dead? One segment of code kept flashing pink. He wondered what that code-like thing was flashing for. Then he suddenly realized a core crystal was merging into his body, like it had become part of his chest. Staring at it, he suddenly remembered, isn't this what was inside that boss-class mutant beast just now? It looks like some kind of condensed energy. It was in my hand a moment ago, so why is it on my chest now? The crystal emitted a strange energy, and along with it, all the red fog around him was being slowly absorbed into it. So it's absorbing the red fog, and not just that, it can store it too. Even if I absorb more red fog than before, to trigger a stronger mutation, I won't have to worry about losing control anymore. A corner of the crystal started to crack, revealing a grim, worrying truth. This crystal has hit its storage limit. His eyes darted around, and he saw the red fog still pouring into the crystal nonstop. A thought flashed. If this keeps going, it's dangerous. If it doesn't stop, it'll explode. Suddenly, he remembered something crucial, and raised both hands to his chest. That boss-class monster's technique burns through a massive amount of red fog. If I can absorb it, then I can release it too. Back to the present. In the hospital's intensive care unit, he lay on the bed. Red fog billowed out from his body as he woke. His eyes burned crimson like roaring flames. He shot upright. He focused all the energy he'd stored through the crystal and funneled it into his arm. A thought flashed. Focus. If I fail, I'm dead for sure. Right then, the ward door opened. Song Air walked in to check on him. The moment she saw him, she froze. He was preparing to fire an insanely powerful blast straight at her. Rewind a few minutes earlier. At the hospital, a sentry stood at attention and saluted Song Air. Captain Song, How's the deputy officer's leg now, ma'am? Song Air stood outside the deputy's exam room. A soldier answered, he's come to his senses. You don't need to blame yourself so much. She stepped inside, where the deputy was holding a file on Neum Hao. He looked at Song Air and asked Captain Song, what's the deal with Neum Hao? Why have I never heard of a test subject like him? Song Air lifted the info board and replied, everything about Neum Hao is top secret. Focus on recovering, don't worry about it. After saying that, she turned to leave. I've requested HQ transfer you to logistics. From now on, rest and heal up. And as she was about to go, the deputy spoke up. I'll be honest and report this to the father of Chief Strategist Song Lim. I'm sure he'll make his own judgment. Song Air snapped, furious, right in his face. Deputy, do you remember who your superior is? From this moment on, your communications are locked down. Stay here, you're not going anywhere. After handling that, Song Air and the sentry headed to Neum Hao's ward. Outside room 314, the guard reported. We've arrived, ma'am. Worried, Song Air ordered him to stand watch outside. Without my command, no one goes in. The guard raised a salute. She opened the door and saw something terrifying. Neum Hao was concentrating energy, aiming it right at her. Song Air demanded, what are you doing? He had no time to explain. He only shouted, get down. The blast fired off, triggering a violent explosion. The recoil flipped Neum Hao backward, and Song Air dropped fast to dodge. The energy sphere blew the door apart, sending the guard outside tumbling in shock. It kept drilling through the wall, setting off an earth-shaking explosion, with a blazing red glow like mist. But it didn't stop there. The energy sphere shot out of the hospital, and tore through the abandoned buildings across the street. The deputy commander saw it, and fell into thought. The building across the way got pierced. Was that Neum Hao? Captain Song Air, how long do you think you can keep this hidden? The guard was still trembling on the ground, muttering, why does every bit of bad luck have to find me? This is terrifying. I don't want to die yet. Song Air stared at the holes, stunned. That was the boss-class armored insect's move from before, wasn't it? How could Neum Hao control a mutant beast's power? Without mutating, she turned to him and asked, Neum Hao, looks like you owe me a whole lot of explaining. On the hospital rooftop, Song Air and Neum Hao faced each other. Their conversation slowly grew more serious. After hearing his explanation, Song Air crossed her arms, eyes full of curiosity. So, according to you, you can not only absorb mutant beast core crystals, but also copy their abilities through the core crystal, right? She asked, half stern, half intrigued. And Neum Hao nodded, raising both hands as if to illustrate. And that's not all. I can absorb red fog, and store it too. That core crystal even seems able to heal itself. Seeing how honest he was, Song Air smiled softly, resting her hand at her chin. Your abilities are pretty versatile. Neum Hao continued, his tone turning low. I've gained their power and abilities, but there's also the risk I'll gradually become a mutant beast and fully transform. He looked straight into Song Air's eyes, his question heavy with worry. In this state, am I still considered human, Captain Song? In your eyes, am I a person or a monster? Or Song Air didn't hesitate. Her answer was blunt and sincere. You're you, one of a kind, human or monster. That depends on how you use this power. She stepped closer, her voice gentle but decisive. But your power is both a disaster and a weapon. Standing in front of him, she raised two fingers. Right now you have two choices. 1. Join the Blood Guard. Become a reserve soldier under my command. 2. Be labeled a potential threat, treated like a mutant beast and eliminated. Neum Hao blinket, statang, eliminate. Song Air nodded, deadly serious. With your current strength, in this city, who do you think can actually stand up to you? Right now, I can't do anything to you, but against Sue, you still don't have the power to resist. Join my team. It won't be a bad deal for you. I'll back you up as much as I can. Seeing how eager she was, Neum Hao grew a little suspicious. Arms crossed, he rubbed his chin, a dangerous guy. We've only known each other a few days. My power could spiral out of control anytime. You're really willing to take in a headache. Like me, that price can't be small. You're going all in just to recruit a rookie. So what's the real reason? Song Air stared at him, resolute. You're sharp. For some reason, I truly need you. but you have to believe we're not enemies. She lifted the photo in her hand in front of him. Maybe you can think of this as a deal. The moment he saw it, Niamhao jolted, reaching for his pocket. What? How is my photo with you?
Song smilet, confident.
Don't underestimate me. If I want to dig into your past, it's as easy as flipping my hand. If you join the Blood Guard, I'll use my top-tier intel network to help you track down the little sister in this photo. Faced with her terms, Niamhao felt it was a good option. Searching blindly on his own had its limits. Just like she said, with higher status and authority, everything would go smoother. He decided to accept, reached out, took the photo back, and shook on it. Then he chuckled awkwardly and scratched his head. But, Captain, if you need me that badly, a little extra pay shouldn't be a problem, right? I mean, all my old salary went into searching for my sister. Song Air saw her goal was achieved. She was satisfied, but she still made sure to put this rookie in line. Private Niamhao, as captain of the Blood Guard, I approve your enlistment as a Blood Guard reserve at the highest pay grade. Now go file the paperwork immediately. Niamhao remembered the holes he'd blasted into those buildings, and instantly tried to slip away toward the door, raising his hand in a crisp salute. Yes, Captain Song, I'll go handle the paperwork right now. But Song Air called him back. Oh, right, the compensation for the damage you caused. I paid it up front for you. I'm not collecting it now, but later it'll be docked from your pay. The moment he heard money, Niamhao left, dejected, scratching his head. Figures, I still have to pay for it. Song Air watched his back, and her thoughts drifted to her uncle again. Uncle, I'll find a way to save you, I swear. She felt that boy carried the key to turning mutant beasts back into humans. In Redstone City, a military truck rolled up to the patrol unit's barracks building. Niamhao and the guard got out, ready to register and file paperwork. Niamhao asked, confused, "You're trying to join the special ops too?" Only then did Niamhao really get a good look at the guard's face. The guy confidently pointed at his own chest, proud. Captain Song and the deputy both think highly of me. Even if I'm assigned to logistics, Niamhao, we can support each other down the line. His friendly attitude made Niamhao remember the time they'd worked together in the border guard unit back then. But honestly, Niamhao couldn't care less about people he saw as hangers-on. He wondered what this guy's name even was. I probably never paid attention, no wonder I can't remember. The guard waved behind Niamhao, saying, Captain Gu's over there. He's doing fine, Niamhao. Niamhao turned and saw a group from the city defense force surrounding Captain Gu. The blonde man was still covered in injuries, his limbs wrapped in bandages. After the red fog outbreak, he had to limp around with a cane. Facing him was an old friend, and an old enemy too. Jung Tui, now the captain of the city defense force, Redstone's Captain Gu. Back then, you slapped me because of that mute woman. Trong Tui sneered and shoved Captain Gu into the wall. Look at you now, like a dog without an owner. You came here to beg our city defense force to compensate your men, huh? Seeing that, the lower-ranked guard couldn't hold back, and charged the city defense guys. But he was outmatched. Two of them restrained him and slammed him to the ground. Just you alone? Can't win with fists, so you bark with your mouth, he yelled. Bastard, let go of our Captain Gu. Trong Tui spat to the side, then sneered in contempt. Kneel down and lick the mud off my boots, or else. He curled his lip into a cold smile, and pointed at the guard. I'll break that kid's arm. Make sure he remembers it. Caught in an impossible choice, Captain Gu burned with anger, but he could only accept reality, and started to kneel like Trong Tui demanded. But right then, Niamhao stepped in and stopped Captain Gu, lifting him up and saying, you don't need to kneel. Captain Gu looked up, stunned, that the lazy rookie he'd always covered for was actually daring to stand up and protect him against an outnumbering enemy. Moved, he said, Niamhao. Niamhao smiled. You helped me a lot back then. This time let me pay you back. Then he turned to the city defense force and shouted, today I Niamhao am here. Touch a single hair on Captain Gu's head, and I'll crush your bones and feed them to dogs. Seeing a young man, bold enough to threaten an entire city defense squad, their faces went dark with rage. They charged, determined to teach Niamhao a lesson. You're that eager to die, they roared. Niam Hao didn't flinch at all. He rushed forward and dropped one guy with a single kick. Then he followed up with a brutal punch to the second. In just a few seconds, all 4 city defense grunts were down, each one taken out with a single strike. Everyone nearby stared in disbelief, shocked by his strength. One of the city defense guys barked out, "Our captain is an E-rank warrior, and you dare lay a hand on us? You're dead." Zhang Shui looked at his 4 men on the ground, too horrified to speak. "How is this kid so strong? 4 of them in 4 seconds. 1 per second. He's even stronger than me." Realizing he couldn't win barehanded, Zhang Shui pulled a gun and aimed at Yan Hao. "You trash from the patrol squad. Even at the border you dare resist an officer? I'll shoot you first and report later." But Yan Hao calmly dodged the bullets, snorting, "Too slow. Do you even know how to shoot?" He lunged in. He grabbed the gun in Zhang Shui's hand and said, "Your trigger speed is pathetic." And with that, he crushed the gun barehanded. Zhang Shui's jaw dropped in sheer terror. Yan Hao opened his hand, and the shattered pieces clattered to the ground. Smoke even rose from the sheer force he'd used. Not even 1% compared to Song Air. He was humiliated in front of the crowd and his own lackeys. His pride was crushed beyond repair. He drew a knife and charged straight at Yan Hao. But Yan Hao couldn't even be bothered to dodge that weak, sluggish swing. He stood still and seized the guy's arm with one hand, flung the knife away, then choked him up off the ground. "Earlier, didn't you say you wanted Captain Gu to kneel down and lick your boots?" Only then did Zhang Shui realize he was nothing in front of Yan Hao's power. All he could do was cling to his captain's name to scare him off. "What are you doing? I'm warning you, don't do anything stupid." But before he could finish, Yan Hao's eyes turned ice cold. Ignoring his threats, he slammed his head into the ground. The impact was so insane the ground cracked into pieces. Zhang Shui foamed at the mouth and passed out on the spot. Seeing that, the remaining men who'd been watching bolted in panic. He even dodged bullets and crushed a gun with his bare hand. Yan Hao couldn't care less about the city defense goons. He just brushed off his hands like he'd touched something filthy. He looked at his arm, where a faint red energy flickered for a moment. He realized his body, after being strengthened by the mutant beast core, had surpassed his original expectations. Yan Hao walked over, picked up the crossbow from behind. The city defense team hurriedly carried Zhang Shui away, screaming, "He's a monster! Run, now!" The guard who'd been so cocky in front of Yan Hao suddenly changed his tune. He came up and patted Yan Hao on the shoulder. "Bro Yan, what you did back there, you were like a war god." Yan Hao was a little surprised by the sudden shift, and raised a brow. "Oh, you alright?" The guy answered quickly, "I'm fine. My body can take a beating." Yan Hao walked over to Captain Gu, and returned the crossbow. Captain Gu took it, saying, "Yan Hao, thank you." Yan Hao smiled. "No need to thank me. You've always helped me before, Captain Gu. So now I'm the one protecting you. Isn't that only right?" Captain Gu looked worried. "But if the city defense squad comes after you and causes trouble..." Before he could finish, the guard beside them blurted out, "Captain, don't worry. Right now, Yan Hao and I are with the Special Ops unit. The city defense squad won't dare touch us." At the City Special Ops temporary base, Yan Hao finished the registration process and returned. He went to report to Song Air. Song Air held his assessment notice and said, "I've already sent your application to HQ. It's been submitted." She handed Yan Hao the approved assessment sheet. "HQ has approved your assessment request." Yan Hao couldn't help but marvel. "Oh, that was fast." He happily took the notice. "So that means I'm officially a member of the Special Ops unit now, right?" Song Air immediately shot him down. "No, don't celebrate yet, Yan Hao. The real challenge starts now." She looked at him and continued, "You need to leave immediately for HQ in Lake City, and take part in the selection evaluation for the Special Ops Blood Combat Division." "Blood Division, but I believe in your abilities. You'll pass easily." Yan Hao smiled with confidence, raising his hand and cracking his knuckles. "Got it. Just wait, I'll break the record." In Lake City, a convoy of military vehicles, along with a cargo truck, was entering the city. Inside, Song Air held the notice, and gave the rookies a quick briefing. "This is Lake City, the capital of Su, and also where Bloodguard HQ is located." Yan Hao sat in the back, pointing at the guard who was happily sightseeing. I heard official Blood Guard members are at least D-rank warriors. So how do you even rate this guy? He's this weak, and he can still take the Blood Guard exam? The guard laughed awkwardly and scratched his head. Haha, because my specialty is taking hits. Song Air explained in more detail, he's logistics, not combat, so he doesn't need to do the combat trials. Hearing that, the guy across from them instantly regained confidence, patted Yen Hao's shoulder, and laughed loudly. Logistics, will still be right there with you on the battlefield. You'll be needing me a lot later. Haha, since we've got a moment, let's trade some info. People like me, those who can awaken abilities are called warriors. Warriors, their combat power, is classified into 6 tiers, from highest to lowest, S, A, B, C, D, E, F. The Special Ops unit has its own rating system, based on each person's physical strength and endurance. And as for mutant beasts, they're ranked from weak to strong. Red Roar, Rending Hound, Overlord, Colossus, and Calamity. If you compare warrior ranks to beast ranks, an E-rank warrior can defeat a Red Roar class beast.
Similarly, a D-rank warrior
is equivalent to a Rending Hound class beast. B and C-rank warriors match Overlord class beasts. An A-rank warrior is on par with a Colossus class beast, and an S-rank warrior can go toe-to-toe with a Calamity class beast. Also, core compatibility has a huge impact on your rank too. Hearing that, Yen Hao asked seriously, core compatibility?
Song Air explain it.
That's right. In this apocalypse, only mutant beasts altered by the red mist possess abilities. As for human warriors, we have to rely on core weapons that match a beast's core to use abilities. Natural talent, physique, and luck all affect compatibility. The higher your compatibility, the more and better abilities you can awaken. If you can't sync at all, then E-rank is basically your ceiling. Just then, Song Air's convoy was stopped by an armed officer on the road. Sorry, this route is currently sealed off. Please take a different road. A driver up front questioned him. You're blocking special ops? The soldiers beside him explained apologetically. Sorry, we're just carrying out orders. We have no choice. Seeing the distinctive Liuting emblem on the vehicles passing the barricade, Song Air's people felt a bad premonition. Why would a major conglomerate like Liuting show up at the Blood Guard member selection assessment? Something's not right. An hour later, at the Blood Guard selection test site, the judges stood before the candidates and announced, Blood Guard is humanity's strongest backbone, and also the sharpest blade of the Special Ops unit. The head examiner, A-rank warrior Lin Yongshin, stood with his hands behind his back, and declared sternly, I don't care what your background is, since you're here you follow the rules. No pulling strings. Not here. Not even if you're the president's grandson. If you don't have real skill, don't dream of staying in my Blood Guard. After that, he raised his hand and officially announced the start of the assessment. The first part is a fitness test. Fitness test begins. First, carry a 50-kilogram load and sprint 100 meters. In this round, Yen Hao crushed everyone and set a new record, finishing in 5.10 seconds. Next was the electronic strength test, measuring arm strength, while a normal person could only lift a 100-kilo weight. With one hand, Yen Hao casually lifted 500 kilograms, like it was a rock. Everyone around them was stunned. He lifted 500 kilos with one hand. During the punching power test, he didn't go all out because he didn't want to break the machine. But even a moderate punch dented the meter, sparking and smoking. The judge next to him stood there mouth agape. The punching meter was wrecked, completely unreadable. 10 minutes later, Yen Hao stood before the head examiner, hands behind his back. Reporting, sir. All items completed. Lin Yongshin looked at the notice in his hand, slightly surprised. Completion confirmed. 198 points. The crowd immediately started whispering. 198 points? That's the highest rookie record. The previous best was only 180. Is he cheating? That has to be it. One dissatisfied guy stepped up to Instructor Lin. The top rookie score when joining the unit was 140 points. His score blows past every record. I don't buy it. That was Zhang Jin, the younger brother of the city defense captain of Crimson Stone City, and also Zhang Shui's little brother. Lin Yongshin glared at him, annoyed. I personally supervised, and we have security cameras here. Are you accusing me of giving him special treatment? Zhang Jin curled his lip, his sharp eyes sweeping over Yen Hao. No, I'm just curious, that's all. As he spoke, he moved behind him. You're Yan Hao, right? From the Crimson Stone City Patrol Squad. Yan Hao frowned at the dangerous stranger and asked, what do you want? Zhang Jin sneered like a cartoon villain. Enjoy your last days. Nothing much, just saying hi. After all, we're from the same hometown. Even as he spoke, he swallowed his rage, remembering the humiliation his brother had suffered. Just you wait, brat. I'll pay you back tenfold. But Yan Hao was even more puzzled, his eyes following the stranger's back. Same hometown as me? How come I've never heard of him? Lin Yongxin, standing across from him, explained, his name is Zhang Jin. He's the young master of Crimson Stone City's defense force. Do you know him? No, Yan Hao replied. But he understood what this was really about. Crimson Stone City Defense Force. So that's it. He wanted revenge for Zhang Shui, the guy Yan Hao beat earlier. Back then, that whole defense force was rotten to the core, completely corrupt. Lin Yongxin continued announcing the test results. Fitness scores are as follows. Rank 30, Zhang San, 89 points. Rank 29, Rank 3, Zhang Jin, 123 points. Rank 2, Jin Heng, 135 points. And Rank 1, Yan Hao, 198 points. Behind Yan Hao, a gorgeous blonde girl stared at his strong back, like a fangirl who'd just met her idol. She muttered, I only came to take the test for fun, but I didn't expect someone this talented to show up this year. This is interesting. I need to study him properly. That was Jin Ing, the one who placed second in the fitness test, and also a senior researcher at the Technical Intelligence Bureau. Lin Yongxin continued, the top 15 will stay. The next test is core compatibility. In Zhang Jin's private dorm room, he was chatting over a tablet. I should have taken first place. From behind the tablet, marked with the Liuting logo, a voice spoke up. If your brother weren't Liuting's lapdog, would you even qualify to take this exam? Zhang Jin frowned, grinding his teeth in anger. Who would have thought two more monsters would show up? On the screen, the two men sat with their legs crossed, idly rolling a cigarette between their fingers. You only get one chance, don't mess it up. After the call ended, he clenched his fist, his face darkening. For my brother's sake, I have to get into Bloodguard. At the core testing lab, the 15 candidates who passed round 1 stood at attention, waiting their turn to be tested. Lam Dungtin held a wrist device in his hand. He announced that today's test would be very simple. All you have to do is put on this wrist armor and insert a core crystal into the gauntlet. We'll measure your compatibility with the core crystal. Anything under 40 gets eliminated on the spot. If anyone's still confused, I'll briefly explain what a core crystal is. Images of different core crystals lit up on both sides.
Lam Dung Tin Con Tin.
Only beasts above the hound tier can produce core crystals. The stronger the monster, the higher the crystal's quality. By embedding a core crystal into beast armor, a warrior can use abilities similar to that beast's. Everyone's compatibility is different, and that's what awakens your talent. There are 3 main types: elemental, strength, and support/control. This wrist armor is the lowest grade. It only checks compatibility. It doesn't grant any special powers. Once you join the Scarlet Blood Combat Unit, you'll be issued better gear and better core crystals. After finishing his explanation, Lam Dungtin announced the start of the core crystal compatibility test. The first person went up. The screen showed rank D, with 39 compatibility, just 1 short of the requirement. He collapsed to his knees, sobbing. He screamed, I'm 5th in physical strength. How is this test harder than killing monsters? But no one cared about his crying. The next candidate stepped up. Candidate number 2.
Rank D, 56 compatibility.
He raised his hand in joy. I passed. I can join Scarlet Blood now. Next up was Zhang Jin.
Lam Dung Tin suddenly spoke, voice easy.
Zhang Jin, your turn. His eyes were bloodshot, his face looking years older, like he'd been using stimulants. He stomped forward with a cold snort, strapped on the gauntlet, then yanked the core crystal up and slammed it in with brutal force. He ground his teeth. Work, damn it, do what I tell you. On the display board, rank D appeared 60 compatibility. The crowd couldn't help but gasp. Even the strongest from last batch only hit 56. So that means he's the strongest this batch. Zhang Jin looked at the result and grinned, smugness spreading across his lips. Trash. I'm the strongest in this group. He walked down as whispers rippled everywhere. Ding Ding insisted, Zhang Jin is definitely number one this time. From behind, Kim On stepped forward, her curious gaze locked onto Niam Hao. You're from Redstone City, right? I've never heard of someone as strong as you, and I'm the kind of person who knows everything in the Technical Intelligence Bureau. And yet you slipped right past my radar. You're not simple. That abnormal spike in the red fog concentration in Redstone City a few days ago might have something to do with you too. The moment he heard Intelligence Bureau, Niam Hao immediately avoided her eyes. A bead of sweat rolled down his forehead. He tried to play it off. Ha! What are you talking about? I don't know anything. Kim On folded her arms and sneered. Fine, don't admit it. Either way, I'm very interested in you. Niam Hao suddenly realized he could use her. He turned and asked, Miss Know-It-All, could you help me look into someone? Just some info? Can you do that? Kim On raised a finger and winked provocatively. Sure, but I have a condition. She pointed at the compatibility tester. If your score beats mine, then I'll help you with whatever you want. No strings attached. Anything at all. Lam Dung Tin called out again. Next, Kim On. She rushed up, waving both hands. Over here, over here. Standing at the machine, Kim On put her hands on her hips and declared, Everyone watch carefully. I'm the one breaking Zhang Jin's record. From below, Niam Hao couldn't help feeling curious. Was she really that strong to be this confident? Zhang Jin kept his smug look and scoffed. Yeah, sure. Quit putting on a show. Kim On put on the gauntlet, spun the core crystal around a few times in her hand, then snapped it in like some superhero transformation. A confident smile bloomed on her face. Watch this. The screen displayed rank D. Compatibility, 78. The crowd instantly erupted. A rank D with 78 compatibility? That's never happened before. The machine has to be broken. Kim On gave a thumbs up, smiling bright like a K-pop idol. Hee hee. She hopped down, flashing double peace signs at Zhang Jin just to annoy him. See? Told you I'd break your record. Zhang Jin clenched his fists, his eyes full of hatred, thinking, aside from Niam Hao, I'm not letting this psycho off either. Then Lam Dung Tin announced the last person. Niam Hao. Niam Hao, step up. Inside he thought, she's seriously strong. Maybe she wasn't lying. She really does know a lot. After teasing Zhang Jin, Kim On turned back and stared at him with that same challenging look. Feeling any pressure? Niam Hao walked up, one hand in his pocket, the other pointing to the sky. Fully confident, he said, watch closely. Holding the core crystal, he thought, if I want to lead on to it, I have to win this bet. He inserted the core crystal into the gauntlet and raised his arm confidently. All right, let's see how high my compatibility is. The screen flashed rank C, making the entire crowd go slack-jawed. It was the first time rank C had ever appeared in this test. But right after that, the system suddenly started repeating alerts. Error detected. Error detected. The alarms sent the crowd into an uproar. All eyes snapped to the display, because this was the first time they'd ever seen the system malfunction. What's his compatibility? What's going on? The alerts kept blaring, but this time something felt off. Core crystal compatibility check. No percentage available. Niam Hao froze, murmuring, huh? Zhang Jin burst out laughing, pointing at him. Haha, useless trash. You acted all tough. This is killing me. Even the core crystal won't accept you. Niam Hao immediately frowned, shooting him an icy look in return, like he'd already picked his next target to teach a lesson. Suddenly, he felt something strange in the wrist armor. He looked down and saw the core crystal slowly, turning into red bone mist, then getting absorbed into his arm. Oh no, is my body forcibly absorbing this core crystal? He clenched his teeth, trying to suppress it, terrified his secret would be exposed. Before he could react, Kim On rushed to the control panel. Compatibility 0%? This has never happened before. Even the worst should at least be 1. She snapped into full scientist mode, cackling while furiously tapping at the controls. I have to record this. My old man is going to lose his mind over it. Zhang Jin suddenly realized something, a cruel smile curling on his lips. Oh, where'd the core crystal in that bastard's hand go? He pointed at Niam Hao and shouted, "Report it, instructor."
Instru cô Lam.
Niam Hao stole the core crystal. The core crystal in his gauntlet disappeared.
Hơ ring thát, Lam dung tin dồn tét.
And immediately barked an order. Niam Hao, raise your arm. Let me see the wrist armor and the core crystal. He raised his arm at once. The core crystal was already gone from the gauntlet, gone without him even noticing when. Dung Tin demanded sternly, "Where is the core crystal? Hand it over, now." The tension spiked like he was about to be put on the chopping block, leaving Niam Hao at a loss. He could only stand there, stammering, I don't know why it disappeared." He sighed, a thought flashing through his mind. I need an explanation, fast. Otherwise they'll turn me into a lab rat. A plan formed instantly. He decided to gamble. If I fake a beast transformation ability, maybe they'll think the crystal activated. With that, a red fog spread from Niam Hao's hand, his arm gradually morphing into a beast-like form, right in front of everyone. Zhang Jin startled. What the hell is happening?
Lam dung tin grip his weapon tightly.
And warned sharply, everyone, stay alert, back up now. But unlike everyone's caution, Kim On looked thrilled. Her eyes sparkled, cheeks flushed, both hands pressed to her face. Oh my, could this be beastification? At the word, beastification, Zhang Jin asked curiously, beastification? This guy got contaminated by red bone mist already? Dung Tin stayed ready to strike. Everyone, keep your distance. Watch his every move. If he snaps, we end it here. Kim On raised her hand and shouted, Hey, Niam Hao, can you hear me? He replied calmly, yeah, what is it? Dung Tin also asked, you haven't lost your mind? Niam Hao kept his composure, slowly undoing the mutated form on his arm. Seems like this is the core crystal's ability. It went into my body on its own, and it changed me like this. Kim On rushed over and grabbed his arm excitedly. You didn't lose consciousness. A transformation ability. Oh my god, this is the first case ever recorded. Dung Tin finally exhaled and lowered his weapon. You're lucky. Beastify and still keep your mind. That's definitely a rare power. Niam Hao looked at Kim On suspiciously. Who are you really? How do you know so much? Kim On still held his arm tight, like she was afraid her lab rat would run away. Then she let go, winked, and smiled brightly, striking a flirtatious pose to grab his attention. I told you, I'm the one who knows everything. Dung Tin walked over, lightly tapped Kim On the head, and revealed, she's Kim On, this batch's Scarlet Blood Examiner, and she's also a senior researcher at the Technical Intelligence Bureau. Her father is Major General Kim An-tan, in charge of the entire RD division, technical development included.
Kim On pouted,
clenching her fists, face turning bright red.
Instru cô Lam.
You just blew my secret. My mysterious beauty image is ruined.
Dung tin chút cơ.
Alright, that's enough excitement. But Niam Hao was still ordered to hand over the core crystal, and he could only scratch his head awkwardly and say,
Instru cô Lam.
I can't hand it over. It already fused with my body. He pointed at the wrist armor and added, it's stuck inside me. It won't come out. Zhang Jin, standing behind them, watched the exchange between Niam Hao and Dung Tin, and muttered to himself, so the core crystal really went into his body? Amid the crowd's chatter, buzzing about this bizarre situation, Zhang Jin covered his scheming expression with one hand. I need to report this to Luke Dang's people. This guy will make a perfect test subject. Sometime later, Niam Hao was taken to the radiation lab for a full body check. Researchers worked non-stop, analyzing his readings. One of them blurted out, I've never seen anything like this. How can a core crystal exist inside a human body? Another researcher agreed. And what's more, it seems to have completely merged with him. I'm afraid we can't extract it. He turned and asked, Director Kim, what do you think?
Kim On, practically buzzing.
Eager to uncover the secrets in Niam Hao's body, listened intently as well. Director Kim stroked his beard, eyes gleaming. Worth studying. That kid is definitely hiding a lot of secrets. He was Kim An-tan, Deputy Director of the Technical Intelligence Bureau, and also Kim On's father. Dung Tin entered with a well-dressed man. Director Kim, how's the situation? What's special about this kid's body? Kim An-tan mocked him. What now? Scarlet blood is still clinging to that rigid rule?
No.
Under 40 compatibility and you won't take them?
Luc Tongliem,
Chief of Staff of the Special Forces, and also Tong Ni's father, stepped forward. Enough beating around the bush. Old Kim, just say it. What's going on? Kim and Tan stared at the data. This testing device was developed by me and Luke Dang together. No one understands it better than I do. This isn't a percentage issue. Kim-on couldn't hold back anymore and shook her dad's arm. Dad, hurry up. I'm dying here. What's so special about his body? Kim and Tan smiled like a mad scientist. His body is beyond what this machine can measure. His compatibility far exceeds the maximum. In the theory I set, it can reach 100. Hearing that, Tong Lim turned serious, brows knitting as if he'd just heard something nation-shaking, something tied to the country's future. He turned to leave. Deng Tin, come with me, now. Deng Tin answered immediately, yes sir. Inside the scanner, Niam Hao felt the core crystal, inside his body shifting from black to red. He smiled in satisfaction. Was it because I absorbed that small core crystal? Before this, I absorbed the core of an overlord tier beast, stole its power and activated the core crystal inside me. This time, even if I didn't gain an ability from a low-grade crystal, my core crystal was strengthened, which means the stronger the beast, the stronger I'll become after absorbing it. As long as I keep absorbing monster core crystals, I can keep evolving without limit. At Scarlet Blood headquarters,
Tong Nhi confront Tong Liêm.
Niam Hao is the one I brought in. What's wrong with him joining my squad? Tong Lim replied coldly, First Lieutenant Tong Ni, watch your status and your tone. Also, aren't you taking a little too much interest in that rank C recruit? Tong Ni tried to explain. Father, you promised you'd put him in my squad. You can't make me a soldier who breaks his word. Tong Lim clasped his hands behind his back, preparing to leave. A soldier's credibility is owed to the nation, not to any individual. Niam Hao has joined Lam Deng Tin's unit. That can't be changed. He turned back, his cold eyes fixed on her. You're a squad leader in Scarlet Blood. Are you seriously trying to steal him from Lam Deng Tin? Return to your post. Now, that's an order. Tong Ni had no choice but to reply, yes sir. But deep down she thought, I'll just have to find another way. At the Scarlet Blood base lounge, Kim-on shouted as she called out to Niam Hao. Niam Hao, hot news. She ran over with an excited grin, announcing the latest intel, a newly discovered monster nest between Ho City and Redstone City. They were sending Scarlet Blood rookies to scout it. I asked Instructor Lam to let our group pair up. That actually caught him off guard. Later, Captain Deng Tin also briefed them. Mission objective, scout the site and assess its threat level. Stay alert at all times. Even if it's a low-level nest, can still mutate because of red bone. Kim-on spoke up, looking totally confident. Data collection is my specialty. Relax, I'll cover you. She said that, but she was rank D while he was rank C. The convoy moved out quickly. On the way, Kim-on explained, monster nest threat levels are split into 4 tiers, low, medium, high and extreme. And there are many different nest types. The low-tier nest we're heading to is a hive type. It looks simple on the outside, but the tunnels inside are a maze. And the worst part is, she leaned in close and whispered in his ear, there are tons of worker bees, and a small number of soldier bees. As he rested his chin, thinking, it's just a beehive, why do we need 3 vehicles? Kim-on laughed at his newbie reaction. These aren't tiny little honeybees, they're monsters. When they arrived and looked up at the sky, even he broke out in a cold sweat. So they're really that huge. The assistant shouted for everyone to hold on tight, so the driver could brake hard. A barrage of spikes came flying at them. Kim-on screamed in panic, it's a steel stinger. Our armored vehicle won't hold up. Niam Hao stepped in to handle it. Perfect timing to test his new move. He used his mutation ability to coat the door and block the hit. Then he charged out, both hands already mutated. Fast as lightning, one clean rush, and he finished it. The driver panicked. He's that strong. Kim-on explained from the side. At first, I thought he could only transform himself. But now he can even coat the vehicle with it. That's insane, she said excitedly. So he can turn basically anything into a weapon. That's seriously amazing. I have to record his combat data and study it properly. While he was fighting them, a blue flash suddenly shot in. piercing straight through his shield like it was nothing. Too dangerous. I need to find where it's coming from. Niamhao shouted. An enemy's sniping us from hiding. Everyone, take cover. They quickly ducked behind a boulder, while someone in protective gear rushed forward, trying to burn the swarm with fire. But in the next instant, another blue shot nailed the fuel tank he was carrying. He didn't even have time to react. Boom! One blast and he was gone. Niamhao yelled, Kimon, where are those blue spikes coming from? She pulled up her data and answered, a Hound-tier queen bee. Its tail stinger has venom. It can corrode rank C armor and below. A Hound-tier. The intel was wrong. This isn't a low-tier nest at all. He immediately decided, I'll take out the queen. Cover me and hold them back. Kimon instantly unleashed wind power, a violent gust blasting straight ahead. In a flash, the swarm was shoved back. She carved a path for Niamhao to charge in. The queen bee was even bigger up close, eyes blood red like it wanted to rip him apart. Niamhao twisted the car door into a long shape, then molded it into a steel spear. No way. He planted 1 foot back, the ground cracking under him, and hurled the spear with everything he had. It shot like a bullet straight through the queen's body, but it didn't even flinch. Why is it so tanky? Kimon ran over, frantic. Niamhao, don't let it escape. It's about to level up into an overlord. But he was already out of strength, collapsing flat on the ground. He thought to himself, without red fog to replenish me, my energy drains in seconds. If I'd known, I would have saved some for the queen. She walked over and propped him up by the arm, smirking like she was sightseeing. You're not about to die, are you? Need me to give you CPR, pretty boy? Niamhao shot upright. Hard pass. I'm not into kids. Keep dreaming. A kid this healthy and you're still complaining? Seriously. She handed him a chocolate bar, but he wasn't hungry, so she just bit it herself. They decided to report everything and call for reinforcements. After measuring the blood bone density inside the hive, Kimon decided they should push in and go all in. The queen was injured. This was their chance to score a major merit. Meanwhile, at headquarters, an urgent report came in.
Captain Yung Tin Wen Peu.
What? The hive's threat level just escalated, and Niamhao and Kimon already went inside? The old man spoke calmly. Kimon might be a brat most of the time, but she's careful when it matters. She won't take a risk without confidence. He immediately ordered the nearest Scarlet Blood unit mobilized to rush in for rescue. Primary objective, ensure the safety of Kimon and Niamhao. Secondary objective, destroy the monster hive. At the same time, another squad also arrived here. Tong Ni's father spoke up, I'll have your younger brother go with her. No objections, right? So he was the one arranging a close escort to protect his daughter. He looked harsh on the outside, but inside he was still a dad who couldn't let go. Back inside the hive, the two of them pressed forward, in anti-fog combat suits, a Scarlet Blood. Only the two of them had that kind of gear. Kimon reported, the energy readings haven't changed much. But just now, when the queen evolves into an overlord tier B, this nest becomes way harder to clear. Way harder. Sensing something off, he shouted, stop! The queen burst out of the tunnel to defend the hive, his body even bigger than before. Then they realized it had successfully leveled up into an overlord, the armored venom queen. We're screwed.
Kimon paniqued.
How is this happening? This red fog density is clearly low. It shouldn't support rapid growth like this. But not only that, even the worker bees have been boosted. Clutching her device, she screamed, the bloodbone concentration is past the danger threshold. Why didn't this stupid machine warn us? She slumped to the ground, helpless. Turns out even their protective suits had been tampered with, so the gear's shielding was weakened. Scarlet Blood had a mole. In an instant, countless steel stingers swarmed in, forcing them to retreat. As he ran, he thought the opposite. I need bloodbone, and they're delivering it to me. But first, I need to secure Kimon. With this battlefield, I can't fight properly, not while worrying about her. He quickly found a small side cave, then piled rocks to block the entrance. Stay here, he told Kimon. You can hold out for a while. I'll go deal with them. Before he left, she shouted, Hey, Niamhao! If you don't come back, even in hell, I won't let you off. He answered confidently as he walked away, Relax, I'll be back in a minute. Niamhao had absorbed enough bloodbone, time to go all out. he decided to use that energy cannon again, to one-shot the Overlord boss. It would drain him completely, so failure wasn't an option. He focused his power into a red energy sphere, then hurled it out. Blow up! A crimson detonation shook the ground, punching a massive hole through the hive. He thought it worked, but the red bone was still there, still thick, and the bees were fine, leaving him rattled. No way, we're actually screwed. 3 minutes earlier, over by Kim On, she was fixing the blood-bone measuring device. Finally done. It immediately blared. Danger. Red bone concentration exceeds critical threshold. The number was already twice the warning limit. A sudden quake startled her. Looking up, she saw a huge hole overhead. Was that explosion outside? Why did it make the red bone even denser? She hid in a crack and observed, and realized, after absorbing high-density red bone, these bees could evolve insanely fast. Even the lowest tier was evolving into hound tier already. Meanwhile, as he fought, Niamhao noticed it too. The more he hit them, the more of them there were, and the stronger they got. Even with red bone around, his recovery couldn't keep up with the drain. If this keeps going, I'm done for. Kim On realized it too. She noticed Niamhao was showing signs of red bone corrosion. As the concentration kept rising, he'd lose control. She immediately used compressed wind rounds to blow away the red bone wrapping around him. A wind sphere spun out at that exact moment, whirling and sweeping all the red bone off his body. Niamhao cursed, "You serious? How am I supposed to recover now?" Poison stingers slammed into him, even blocking with his arms. The paralysis effect was nasty. At the same time, another volley came from behind. This time he couldn't dodge. Suddenly someone rushed in, using their body to take the hit for him. It was Deputy Officer Lam Lam, rank C strength type. His basic ability, physical reinforcement. His derived ability, hypersensory perception. His core source, an Overlord tier pangolin beast. He warned them, the fight isn't over. Focus. The swarm closed in again. Right then, purple rounds tore through the bees. The reinforcements had arrived. Tong Ni, rank C. After receiving the order from HQ, she rushed here immediately to support them. She ordered an all-out assault, and the squad surged into battle. The teams assigned to fire burned the swarm, while Niamhao and the deputy fell back to rest. But at that moment, the boss charged straight at them again. The attack was stopped by Captain Tong, with her lightning shots. Its entire body seized up, paralyzed and unable to move. It tried to fly up and escape. Niamhao couldn't help thinking, so the main wife is strong too, huh? The deputy explained that last time she didn't have her gear with her. She got dragged into a fight while everyone wasn't paying attention. Meanwhile, he slipped aside to absorb red bone and recover. Suddenly everyone realized something and shouted, "Watch out! The boss was absorbing all the red bone here to level up again." People cried out, "No way! Didn't it just hit Overlord rank?" The swarm around them thickened rapidly. In the crisis, Niamhao shouted, "I've got a way to deal with the boss." Then he sprinted in. He moved like lightning, dodging strikes and peppering it with quick hits. But Niamhao realized bare hands wouldn't cut it. He fired another blood burst, still not enough, and he almost got headshot by its spikes. That's when he thought he needed a weapon. Looking around, he saw the queen's stinger spikes would work perfectly. He mutated one into a sword and charged in. With everything he had, he unleashed a crimson blood blade slash. Boom! A shockwave rang out. The boss finally went down. His crystal popped out and he caught it, but his body absorbed it instantly, sending pain shooting through him. Everyone thought something was wrong and panicked, just grinding for loot, that's all. And that wraps up part 1. Don't forget to like the channel if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.